Divorced people of Reddit, what was the final straw that ended your marriage? I quit drinking. She said I wasn't fun anymore. I caught her emailing him real estate listings. They were apparently shopping online for a house together. That's it. I'm never getting married. He slept with my friend while I was pregnant. Yep. That would about do it. She didn't want to be married or a mom anymore. She also wanted to see other people. I showed her the door and she ran like a bat out of hell. Left me and the kids. All I had to do to get custody was keep paying her cell phone bill and car payment. This was pretty much all she cared about. Too damn bad that was not part of the divorce agreement. I stopped paying the day after the divorce was final. You're a good man taking care of the kids and getting someone that would influence them immensely in a very negative way out of their lives. I came home early. She had a dick in her mouth. Caught her in flagrante delicto. She filed for divorce first, saving me the trouble. Then she fought me for custody of the kids. While she was in a mental institution. I got kids, house and a mountain of debt, and freedom. Her boyfriend called me. Told me he had been f***ing her for a year. I asked him why he would call me to tell me this. His answer? Well, I didn't feel that bad about it before. But I just found out she's been cheating on me with 5 other guys. All off of Craigslist, and that's where she found me. Totally blindsided. Wow, what a nice scumbag. He locked me out of the bedroom for not cleaning the cat litter to his specification. He was trolling the internet for other women. He wouldn't have sex with me for months at a time. To be fair, only myself and Sting can have sex for months at a time. He threw me clean across a room and I broke my collarbone. Never want to see him again. After essentially denying me sex for 2 years, she agreed to FCK a married dude for gifts. OMG. My ex-husband FK'd married ladies for gifts too. We're twinsies. When I went into labor at 4 AM and not only did he refuse to take me to the hospital, he also blocked my car in so I couldn't get there and I had to call my family to come get me. The baby ended up in NICU because of problems with the labor. Bananas. We were grocery shopping. And I pick up a bunch of bananas and she immediately started in with, "Why are you getting bananas? You're not going to eat them. Put them back. Right now." Literally yelling at me and berating me in public for bananas. When we got back to the house, I told her I was done. One too many crazy episodes for me. So she went nuts. Her co-worker's dick. Actually not even that. It was her telling me that her having an affair was my fault. Or that I want kids but not yours. Bitch, get the FCK out. When my boss caught her out with her new boyfriend who was drunk and bragging. Small company. We all knew each other and our families. I left for a few days to clear my head. When I came back to talk he was already moved in. So done. She got a restraining order against me. And filed for divorce as a birthday gift to the guy she was cheating on me with. I don't think either of us can remember. I mean, we both know that we were having a fairly polite argument. But not what it was about. All I can remember is that we came to an impasse on some subject and neither of us felt that we could compromise further. We had been in couples therapy for a while. And had gotten a lot better about a lot of things. But we were too different from one another and simultaneously realized that we would not be able to make things work any further. We still liked one another as people. And are still friends. But we couldn't really swing it as a unit. We moved into separate rooms of the house and made pretty good roommates until the lease was up. When she admitted to me that the voices were telling her to hurt the children and me. And I realized that it was dangerous to keep a schizophrenic in the house with the kids. Coming to grips with the fact that she was still walking around but the woman I married and had 2 kids with was gone. The disease had taken her from me. I was already taking care of the kids full time. I spent most of my time at home arguing with her over reality. hit me, and then yelled at me for flinching during a later fight. My husband hit me in front of my sister. He had been beating me and arping me and making sure I had no money for months. Even hitting me while I would nurse our baby. But when it became something I could not deny anymore because someone else saw it, it was over. I feel really sad typing that out. When my 3-year-old daughter was holding onto my leg with her arm raised up at her mother saying, "Mummy, stop hitting daddy." Again. On my 6th birthday I got a dog named Ace. An absolutely beautiful golden retriever chow mix that was my only friend throughout a very lonely elementary middle school life. My parents called me one day in July of 2009 while I was at work. I was stationed in my hometown after a few tours, telling me they were taking him to be put down because he was having some terrible medical problems and in pain. I asked my top if I could go and he threw me out of the office. On the way towards my folks' house I called my wife at work, DQ, crying hysterically about it. I told her that she will have to either take the bus home or have her mother take her. The bus was a straight route and would take 15 minutes. And her mom lived between her work and our house so it would be no hassle anyway. Cut the story short. She starts screaming at me for caring more about a stupid f-king dog than her having to take the bus home. I hung up and that was it. I never kissed or hugged her again. We got married young right out of college. In the beginning she would encourage my dreams. 2 kids and 9 years later my dreams were silly and I needed to stop thinking about them. I suggested couples therapy. She initially said no, but when I threatened to leave if we didn't try to find the root of our differences and address them, she agreed. She picked a counselor, Christian counseling, since she had found God since our wedding. After the first session she said he was picking on me. I'm not going back. If there are problems, the problems are yours, not mine. I moved out almost immediately and the divorce was final within 6 months. True story. Making nothing up. My ex-wife of 10 years decided that having sex with a 15-year-old student in her care would be a good idea. After I caught him driving my car when I unexpectedly returned from a business trip, I confronted her and got her to admit it. She served 2 years of a 15-year sentence after I turned her in. I witnessed the penis of another man penetrating her vagina in the backseat of the car I just bought for her. He valued my paycheck more than me. Once he had gambled away $15. 000. I couldn't take it anymore. I tried to get him into Gamblers Anonymous, but he refused. He would freak out at me when I told him he had a problem, and said that it wasn't that bad. Let me tell you, when you have to take out loans to pay your bills and rent, it's that bad. Tapping my landline telephone with Radio Shack paraphernalia. I heard a strange clicking noise while on a call and found a cassette recorder buried in the insulation and the crawl space underneath my landline phone. This is after years of ramping up his OCD checking habit, which included checking shopping receipts for timestamps, scouring the telephone bill and calling every number he didn't recognize, bending the slats on the bathroom blinds so he could peek in and make sure I hadn't drowned in the tub, removing the tumblers from the bathroom door locks just in case he needed to rush in and rescue me, hiding in the back of the parking lot where I worked to ensure I wasn't walking to my car with any male co-workers. Nicest guy in the world. Never abusive. Doted on me and showered me with attention and apparently head over heels in love with me. But so secretly controlling and batch T crazy I just couldn't consider therapy. I bolted in the middle of the night with no warning and moved 2 states away. He didn't secretly implant you with a GPS chip? Amateur. I couldn't get along with my husband's girlfriend. Plus the fact that she gave him herpes. Was making 75% of the money and had put us in a house on the water and paid for her to finish school, and she just constantly treated me like crap. We had planned to have children after she turned 29. The day after her 29th birthday she tells me that she doesn't want children because she wants to concentrate on her career. The exact quote was, "I don't want children, at least right now, at least not with you," as if I was the guy down the street she might be okay with having kids right then. Marriage was over right then, although it took me 4 weeks of steaming over it before I remembered I was 1, a decent person, and 2, had balls. She got kicked out the day after the revelation happened. Reading this made me realize that being alone is great. When she decided that being a groupie to a 26-year-old guy working at McDonald's till he made it as a musician was better than being a wife and mother. It's cool. His CD is on iTunes and he's made like $30 from it. Guess she made the right choice. My wife knew I was dead set against divorce. So she started using it as a rhetorical device to change the subject anytime she didn't like where a conversation fight was going. She must have brought up divorce 6 times in 3 months. Worked. 2. The D word would instantly change the subject. I finally got tired of it and told her the next time she said we needed to get divorced, she would be right. She did it again. I left that night. After having stage 3 breast cancer, she decided she wanted to be bisexual. To keep our house and family together, I tried to allow her to do what she wanted. She started drinking and smoking a bunch of weed, and after she started hanging out with a 22-year-old, she is 34, she met on Craigslist, spending all night with her multiple times a week and barely making it home for me to leave for work at 5 in the morning so someone would be home with the kids. I told her I couldn't share her like this anymore. She told me she will never love me as much as another woman she knew, and I was never going to be the most important person in her life. We were married almost 13 years. I'm sure there are worse feelings. But being at home playing with your kids while your wife is out doing drugs and having sex with another person is one of the worst I've experienced. Was a couple of factors. Could have been my raging alcoholism. Could have been her propensity to have other men's penises inside of her. Could have been her belief that Guido shot first. Probably a combination of all 3. Could have been her belief that Guido shot first. Complete marriage breaker. He found someone else. Plot twist. 5 years later and his new wife and I are good friends. She's a nice person and a good stepmom. No hard feelings. He threw me to the ground after he stole money from me in front of our 3 kids and kicked me repeatedly in the back and head. We were not together at the time. I left him when I found out I was pregnant with our 3rd child at 19 because he purposely tampered with my birth control. He was 6 years older than me. We were together since I was 14. By 15 I was knocked up with our 1st child. He was also verbally and physically abusive towards me. And did nothing but sit in his ass and neglect the kids while I went out and worked 2 jobs. Anyway, after he took a break from kicking me in the back, I grabbed my guitar and cracked it over his big f-king head. It will be a cold day in hell when he gets to see these kids again. My mom's 2nd marriage ended over a fight about a comforter that had my stepdad storming out in a rage. Comforters are extremely important in keeping a warm household. Thanks to everyone that has shared their stories. I love my wife and daughter, and they're both getting a big kiss and hug when I get home tonight. I don't wanna get married now. My ex-husband kicked my 19-year-old son out of our house because he had quit his job and hadn't found another one. He said he wouldn't support an adult child who wouldn't work. Nearly destroyed my relationship with my son, who went to live with his dad. A month later, ex's son graduated from college and demanded a hefty monthly allowance to live on while he figured out what he was going to do for the next year or so. Ex agreed to pay the allowance. After years of this double standard, that was the last straw. I left and my son came to live with me and got his dream job the same month. The parents from a friend of mine divorced. Because all of her, the mom, friends also got divorced or broke up with their partners. She didn't wanted to be the only one who wasn't divorced. So she threw her husband out of the house and got the papers ready. She also wanted, and got, a Daihatsu Terios once because 2 or 3 of her friends also bought one. Actually, I've seen this happen too. Well, lots of things caused my marriage to ultimately fail. But the final straw was when she told me she wanted someone like Edward from that vampire movie. I just laughed and walked right out the door. Did you marry a 13-year-old? Not me, but my brother. She kicked him out after he called her out on cheating. I was in a S-less marriage. I'd say 5 times we had intercourse in a decade. Not even on honeymoon. Did some Arnofip. Stopped drinking and self-medicating and took antidepressants. What was left? Well, my life was work and play. When inventoried, I make 6 figures. I'm young, early 30s, and don't even have a college education. Here I sit. Mostly clear head. I grew tired of trying to fix it and starting cheating with random bug girls. Realized girls like me. I ended it because I knew I couldn't be faithful. I have since met the girl of my dreams. His dick in her vagina. TL. DR. Never get married. Not mine, but my wife's. He stopped paying the mortgage and didn't tell her after their child was born. She only found out after the final notice of foreclosure appeared in the mailbox. He'd been intercepting them over the months. Now he's $6,000 behind on child support. His hours were cut and he's been looking for work, but it's just typical irresponsible behavior on his part.